The train headed for Sunset City will be departing soon.
Actually, yeah, I think it might have been too many games. Yeah, because I remember you screamed my name. I told
Yes, it was
fucking
the parking. It was outside the hotel. Too many games, and I was shit faced.
You scared the shit out of me. You're like, is that fucking Carlos? And I was like, like, I look for the crosshair on my back. Like, oh, shit.
All right, Gilly, you're introducing today. Go on.
No!
Come on!
No!
Do it! Or else you're not one of the cool kids. Gilly.
Welcome to Sunset Shitty, a Sonic podcast for whatever.
Dude.
I'm your host,
Yes, go on.
Garrula64.
Hey, man, big fan of your work.
With you, as always, is Sir's the septic tank.
Hi, everybody. I have shitty opinions.
That was good.
And a dog.
Woof.
Does that make me Gilly?
Yeah.
No.
Hey, I'm Gilly.
These snowmen are kind of morbid.
Yeah, I know.
Why is it just Nick and Wayne the snowmen?
Frozen Nick alive.
I gotta keep their memories alive somehow, sir.
If you guys donate enough today, we'll unthaw them and they'll come back.
You should have made him Santa, then we can call it. He could have been Saint Nick.
Nah, that's because that requires him to be alive.
You could have made him a green Santa.
No, because
Wait, are
then
you saying
people would
there's
be like,
saints
why
that are
isn't
alive
he
still?
You'd be like, why is he
Most
not
of the-
talking, you know? Like, why is he here if he's not saying anything?
Yeah,
Because
just
he's
like
not
Mother
real.
Teresa, most of the saints are dead.
No.
Yeah, it's a saint.
He's dead.
Well, for
he
starters-
was martyred.
for
Santa
starters-
Claus was martyred.
No, for starters, Saint Nick and
Yeah, he was
Santa
put up on the
Claus
cross.
are two different things. Like, if you go to Europe, Saint Nicholas is like a completely different character entirely to Santa Claus. But they've also got another character called Schwarz Peter, which translates to Black Peter. And in the Netherlands, they have the big Christmas parade with these dudes in blackface as Schwarz Peter.
All right.
Yeah, I knew you'd like
okay.
that. But
Welcome to
Why
Sunset
would I
City,
like
everybody.
that?
in Germany, though, they've redesigned him so that he's just
Anyway, Santa Claus was martyred.
he's a white guy with soot on his face now. So yeah,
TBH, Sam
you've been,
deserved
you've
Glad we
been
had that history lesson today.
educated, you silly Americans, with your bastardizations of holiday.
Do you think
history.
Anyway,
Santa was, do you think Santa was burned at the stake for following Christ?
Yeah.
There was a war on Christianity, bro.
Oh
mean,
my
like-
god.
He was delivering presents with flying reindeer. He probably got burned as a witch.
That's a really good point, actually, though. Like, that's a joke, right? But that's really clever.
I need somebody to draw Santa being burned alive in Salem.
All right, Sunset City art community, I know you're still out there somewhere.
New art challenges today.
Jesus Christ. Why is
The
this
first
show even?
Sonic the Hedgehog Santa Claus podcast.
Burn the witch! Ho, ho, ho!
Ho ho ho. More like no.
Whore.
I don't have any
Podcast
of those
for the
on
classic
Sunset
and
City.
modern Santa Claus audience.
Gilly, this is why I don't do anything for you, is because you haven't,
You know what's fun? You know what's
you
funny?
haven't thanked me for replacing the Sonic Superstars footage.
I had the fan funding tab selected, so I've just been thinking that we've been here the whole time and no one's been saying anything.
Oh my god.
I was like, wow, this is not landing at all.
No, but that's the point, though. Given that you are the introductory man of the episode, you also have to walk them through the situation with Super Chats and the Patreon.
No, fuck you.
No, do it. Come on.
No, I'm
Do
not
it.
doing shit.
Do it.
No.
Do it.
Gilly,
No.
it's not in the shit, it's in the piss.
It's not it's not anywhere. It's just an
I don't have
unwritten
access to
rule.
this shit document.
Come on.
No, I don't run the show.
Don't make me go upside your head.
I just
We
no, I
all-
don't run the show. I just
This
What's
is
the- I-
anarcho commune, whatever my buddy calls this.
What?
crap.
What is
Anarcho syndrical commune. I don't know.
That's not even a real
anarcho-syndical-
word. What the fuck are you talking about?
No, okay,
It's
so my-
anarcho-syndicalist communist.
that's
Those
the
are the
no,
words
no,
you're
just
looking
commune.
for.
This podcast is that. What's mine is
It's
yours.
it's an anarcho-syndicalist commune.
Yes.
When did we agree on that?
I didn't make my communion though. I can't be here.
Nick made it that way when he decided we should all get paid the same.
Who?
We're getting paid.
Who?
You will get paid soon.
Whoa.
I think you mean. Our good
Hello
friend-
there. Hello there. I'm
Hello there.
and this is
Here comes 40 minutes of
Welcome back to Mecha Madness.
Sonic reading. This is my new favorite thing.
Welcome to Sunset City, everybody. A podcast.
And here we've got Wayne is
You got Wayne the Snowman.
Gilly the.
No, he's here. He's
I can pop. You're just.
Fuck up. I'm not
No, he's channel.
Channel.
I am not channel I'm still here, damn it. That's reserved for people that left.
Yeah, it's just and is boss.
Game of a gist.
Weird. I have to
Can't
race during the sunset on Infinite City.
Restart the stream.
Okay, but
Start
yes.
over.
Sorry, speaking of I have to steer us on track. We do have a
Speaking of shit,
Yeah, dude, read the.
that's more the but okay. We've got a couple of quick news beats.
it
too.
is a stream after all.
We've got a
Yeah,
couple
wait,
of
April Fool's Day episode where we do that the entire stream. Every single time we say something, you gotta go.
We did do it. We did an April Fool's one, I think, on our first year where we were all just burning to death.
The studio on fire.
We've got a couple of quick news thingies.
I understood that reference.
The first of the news is that Sonic Dream Team has officially released. And Gilly and Suris, you haven't had the chance to play it yet for your own fucking reasons. But
I played it before everybody, and then have to play it after everybody.
that was like me when the Spider-Man PS4 came out, because
Hero
I
we
wasn't
need.
allowed to buy it. But okay, so the only ones that have played it at all are Dylan and me. And have you completed it?
I mean, wait, Cirrus, did you? Because
I
I
just watched
did.
the
Obviously, I have played it. Cirrus, did you play it at all?
No, I haven't had a chance to play
Okay.
it at all.
So Cirrus is the only one with no.
So this time
experience.
he's the slacker.
Yes.
Congratulations, Cirrus. You're the slacker of the week.
I apologize for not buying more Apple product.
Thank you.
Consume Apple product and become
I have-
14-year-old girl.
What?
I
Because
gotta return my Apple TV.
14-year-old girls own Apple products. But okay, so yeah, we can touch on it very briefly, but we will have a devoted episode going up, I think, next week when we've all had more opportunity to play it. Cirrus, are you gonna try? You gonna fucking try?
I think I'm gonna just get a Bluetooth controller.
Yeah,
and
do
then
that.
Cast my phone onto a TV.
Do what must be done.
Cirrus, the lag is too bad.
It's too bad.
Just play it on
Yeah,
the
it's
little
real
screen
bad.
then. Just have it on the little screen. And then you can play it outdoors. You know?
Yeah, okay, Cirrus, buy a really big like
In the cold.
buy like a really big magnifying like glass thing.
and look at it through the magnifying glass.
Yeah, you know, like
Sonic
but
the-
like a
Sonic the
big
Fish Eye
Game Boy
Like-
Advance.
like a big
Oh my
rectangle.
god, Gilly! It'll be a new 3D Sonic game through a fisheye lens. I wonder where I've
Oh.
heard that before.
Oh no.
Oh yeah, Sonic Lost World. Okay, so
What?
Dylan, what do you think of the game?
Can I get controversial?
Sure.
You shut the fuck up.
I think it's my favorite Sonic game. Like of all time.
Sonic Team needs to stop.
It's very unfortunate. Like I like Frontiers a lot, and I like the more dramatic story and stuff it had, but like the gameplay in Sonic Dream Team is exactly the kind of gameplay that I like and that I look for. And it was very nice to look at, and the soundtrack was just okay. It wasn't really that good, but like everything else was really, really good. And REM calls Knuckles handsome, which I thought was very sweet.
REM's voice gave me a boner. But
Okay, that's not what I was saying, but okay.
no, but she sounds amazing. She sounds so nice. But I mean, I'm to a slightly lesser extent. I think this is exactly what a linear Sonic game should be, or this is exactly what cyberspace should be. But I still want them to stick with the open zone stuff, and I still prefer like the controls of, say, Frontiers. I still like, having combat in a Sonic game and stuff. That's not stuff I'd want to sacrifice, but what I can say is that Sonic Dream Team is the first Sonic game in a long time to not have anything glaringly wrong with it, so that's something. It's like
So
everything...
it really makes you feel like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Shut the fuck up. Everything it does right.
I don't want to feel like him.
I don't want to run away from my emotions either. But yeah, that's kind of... We will have a full devoted episode where we'll get a bit more stuck in the weeds once these fuckers have had a chance to actually play it properly. Another little update, and I get the feeling I'm probably the only person that has played it, but whatever, is that Sonic Frontiers has had a new update, or a new patch. Anyone else played that?
I have
was
not had a
playing
chance
Sonic
to play the
Dream
new
Team.
patch.
All right. Okay, so I guess I'll lead the charge on that one, and I'll keep it brief. They've made some improvements to mainly the Final Horizon DLC, which is good because
they kind of needed.
Yeah, it was one of those things that needed a patch. Now it's like there's still room for further improvements, but it is at least, much more...
Like they could leave it here and it'd be okay.
Yeah, they can leave it here and it's fine. Probably the biggest change is Knuckles' gliding now feels really good. It's got a really good turning circle now. And a lot of people are saying this is fixed Knuckles. I don't agree with that. I think the climbing is still way too sensitive. And I was playing around with it last night, and yeah, it is, you have to be pushing forward against the wall, but in order to do that, you have to be willing to climb a little bit. So yeah, it makes it quite squirrely. Another thing that changed...
It's still weird that we have a Knuckles that can't climb on natural surfaces.
You can't do that in Dream Team either, though.
I miss when he could do that.
Knuckles is destined to suck. But...
Suckles.
Exactly. But as well as that, all of the other characters have had their attacks buffed up a little bit too, so that they actually do stand a chance against the Guardians that are littered around Oranos Island now. And there has been the complaint that on max level, you can just make quick work of them. I still found there was a little challenge in terms of like dodging and parrying attacks, but rather than taking 6 minutes for Knuckles to beat up a tower, it can now take 1 minute. And I'm not gonna lie, I will take a Knuckles that feels strong, but is maybe a little too easy, over a Knuckles that, feels like a weakling. However, it is a shame that 4 attempts later, and we still haven't managed to quite strike enough of a balance. However, that is on max level. As for other things, the
perfect parry window has been fixed, apparently. It's
been buffed a little. It's still very tough to do the Master King trial on hard mode, but it is at least a little bit more fair now. I think the perfect parry during the first round of updates, the perfect parry really made it feel like none of these bosses were designed with a parry system in mind. They were all designed with a blocking system in mind. Right, yeah, because it's one of those things where, like, to broadcast that it's time to parry, all of the enemies have like a wind-up animation, and when it's based on a wind-up animation, you can't really get that 1 second warning or 1 frame warning or whatever. And it's still kind of the case in hard mode now. Some people are saying, oh, it's too easy, but it's like, no, we get it, you got a big cock, but like, no, it's not too easy now. But I still think the normal mode, perfect parry, is actually the best version, where it's like, you get 1 second to parry, rather than a few frames. That's perfect as far as I'm concerned, and I had a really satisfying time replaying through the Master King trial. Another thing they've done is when you fight against Knight on the Master King trial, it now gives you a button prompt to dodge out of the way of the shield and attack the Knight's head, which sets up and establishes that you can do that with the end later in the game. So they actually do give you a clue on how to beat him before going into the fight now, which is a lot better. And then there's just a couple of other quality of life fixes here and there. Sadly, pop-in is still a thing, and they sadly still haven't added jukebox to Final Horizon, but again, it's one of those things where before I think it really needed a patch. Now it could use more improvements, but I think it's in a position where I can at least call it fine,
Yeah, it's so weird that, like, Frontiers was a fine game to begin with. It just kind of got a little weird at the end, where you could tell the polish had ran out.
The last original Uranos is boring as fuck.
Yeah, that's why I said like it at the end, everything just kind of runs out.
Yeah.
There's 3 islands, and then there's the last challenge. That a really good island 4 that felt unique from the other islands, and then you went to Big's fishing because anything was better than walking around the last island. But the Final Horizon update, it always felt like they went, hey, look at all this new content, but we forgot to polish any of it. We forgot to test any of it.
The problem with the original Final Horizon as well was not just that it wasn't just that the difficulty balancing was pretty much non-existent, which has fortunately been fixed up now. It was just that it also... there were people saying that it made the game worse, and I don't quite agree with that sentiment in regards to that, because it's more of it. You know, the original game as you played it and loved it is still there, so it can't really make the game worse as such. The problem was that it drew a lot of attention to the weaknesses that were in the original game that they did a lot to hide, basically. Whereas Final Horizon was like, let's push this as far as we can take Sonic Frontiers without fixing the fundamentals. And so... what we have now is kind of like, it still showcases problems like the pop-in to a much greater degree because that final island is littered with so many platforms now. But it's a lot better. And I'm going to say this, the game with the Final Horizon on it now is a lot better because before it was like they front-loaded all the good stuff and then, yeah, as you said, it peters out. Whereas now it's like they front-load all the good stuff, you've got a slight lull in the middle, and then they've back-ended like loads of good stuff too. So I'm happy with the state that it's in now. I mean, fuck it, I love Sonic Frontiers. I've always been one of the more charitable ones of us when it comes to Sonic Frontiers. And I mean, I was playing it last night, and I was like, yeah, I still prefer this to Dream Team, but Dream Team is definitely a higher quality product for what it is. You know, like, it's a big old experimental bundle, and like that is something that I think we're going to talk about today, is how kind of experimental the past year has been for Sonic between Frontiers, Superstars, and Dream Team. But we'll get to that in a little bit. Does anyone else have anything to add regarding Update 3 or 2? Not Update 3, but the new update?
Nope, I didn't play it.
I'm happy that the parry window is lowered. I really did not like the parry window originally, especially because none of the bosses... They have wind-ups, but a wind-up is not the only thing required for a parry system in games. If you've played games like Bayonetta, for instance, it's not just a wind-up, there's a full-on tell.
Yeah, you need that last flash. Like, it's like, now.
Yeah, there's got to be a tell that says this is your moment for doing something. Hell, even the Mario RPG remake decided to add a tell on every single attack so that they were more telegraphed.
Well, also,
that wasn't in the original game.
Controversially as well, Sonic Superstars has a final tell as well, especially on that final boss against Robotnik in the Egg Fortress. When he does that attack with the big orange like laser wall things, it does one last flash and goes ding, and that tells you time to hit the jump button.
Yeah, and I think having those tells in the game, it's a very, very important thing if you're going to have a parry system. There's tells for Metroid Dread, there's tells for Bayonetta, there's tells in fucking turn-based RPGs. Just having the enemy is doing a wind-up doesn't work, especially when the game is dumping it on as new information. Because the fact of the matter is, even though the wind-ups are the same on every single boss in Frontiers, they're the same wind-ups that you've been playing with if you've done the bosses in the game once before, you never had to take them into consideration, so it was never information you had to internalize. And if you've never presented information to your players in a way that they've had to internalize, then you can't expect them to know it when you suddenly make it important at the end.
Exactly.
If you've never made it important before.
That's the thing as well, is like, because it wasn't like a gradual introduction either. Like, it's like, you've got to fight all 3 Titans, that's that. Like, you don't really get that chance of trial and error either, you know, because everything's on the line.
They also, there's another huge thing with this update that I'm glad they fixed, even though it led to a fun moment for me, but not a good one. So the trial towers. When you were doing the trial towers beforehand for basically any character, especially Sonic in the final update, if you died, platforms that disappeared when you jumped on them before, they never respawned.
Oh, they fixed
before
that
this
too.
update.
Oh yeah, those
Yeah.
are bad.
Yeah, they've fixed that now. So in my experience with Final Horizon before, I enjoyed it a little bit when those went away because they gave me a platforming challenge that was not intended. You could tell it wasn't intended for you to try to pixel perfect land a jump onto a floating horizontal slab. Like that's, or not a floating vertical slab. Like that's not a thing that was intended in the original game design, but I got some personal fun out of doing it. But I'm happy that that's not a thing that nobody else has to do ever again playing this, because that was, you can tell that was unintentional.
It was bad.
Like nobody in their right mind makes that design choice in a video game consciously.
Yeah, no. That was just a fucking shitty piece of game design right there.
So I'm very happy that making a mistake is not so thoroughly punished when the game was already giving us the absolute one of the hardest challenges we've had in mainline Sonic games in ever.
Since Eggman Land,
honestly.
at the very least. Like
since Eggman, and to be honest, Eggman's Land's issue came down mostly to length. But never mind, I can't say that because even the Wii version had God damn it. Even the Wii version, it has a shorter Eggman Land, but the Eggman Land is still very, very punishing because it's like, hey, do the drifts. There are no guardrails. There's also lava. You also need it. Also dodge all these things around you while you're doing it. So never mind. I can't say it's just down to length because even the Wii version had a super hard Eggman Land.
Yeah, I liked Eggman Land. I'm glad we're back to kind of a semblance of that difficulty. But it was like the big problem was I wished it were balanced more. I don't know if they've added any form of checkpoint system to the towers now. But if they haven't, they need it. But otherwise, I can still live with it, I guess. They have apparently retooled some of the towers a little bit, especially for easy mode, but aside from that, I think one of the other changes is in cyberspace now, if you haven't reached a checkpoint and you die, your time resets. So you don't have to just restart it manually. That was
always kind of a dumb thing that they had in there before, because the time you're spending in the level should not be accumulated for every single time you die, because when you die, that's it.
You restart.
You restart the level.
Especially in the case, because I can understand it in levels that have checkpoints, but in the case of the new Uranus cyberspace stages, which I really like. I know that we were very damning on them in the last episode that we had with Wayne.
I liked the B one. I really liked the honeycomb one. I felt really free with the spin dash in there.
I liked all of them, to be honest. I wasn't fond of the box one, but like, fucking, they don't have any checkpoints. So the fact that you could die and then you'd have to manually restart just to get your timer to reset was really stupid. So I am glad that they fixed that up. But yeah, so that's the new Frontiers update. Yeah.
A good attempt, and very happy about some of those fixes.
Mm-hmm.
Other things, I should probably play it before I say anything. Sorry.
There are still things I want. Like, I still really want them to put Jukebox in the Final Horizon story because, like, again, those character themes, I like them, but you're encouraged to forage this island for hours upon hours, and those music loops are like 2 minutes long.
Are you flowing through time?
But the songs are so good.
That doesn't play in the overworld, you big doof.
But I'd rather have it. I'd rather have the entirety of the cyberspace playlist available to me.
Let the blood
than just
inside
listening
you
to
flow.
the one fucking song.
I still insist that Knuckles' song is a sex song.
It's
literally called Blood Flow. You know where blood flows?
Always Knuckles when you it's always Knuckles.
But it is. He's the sex appeal of the Sonic, I guess, as far as Sega are concerned.
I guess that's what they were saying with the movie, because Idris Elba was like, he's gonna be sexy.
Or
no, like they asked him to be
no,
sexy.
yeah, literally Idris Elba had to say, "Oh yeah, he's not gonna be sexy in this movie," and then
is he gonna be? I remember the interview. Is he gonna be?
And then the internet said,
"I most passionately disagree."
I'm not gonna make him sexy, and then he went, just kidding. He had his like fingers crossed.
So yesterday was the Game Awards, and this does kind of relate to Sonic in some ways, but we got announcements of all kinds of Sega revivals. Like, what do we got? We got Jet Set Radio. I think we're getting a new... Is it a new Crazy Taxi? Does anyone remember what the...
Crazy Taxi 4.
Okay, what else?
Crazy Taxi.
What else was it?
Yeah, it was Crazy
Set
Taxi,
3?
Shinobi, Golden Axe, Jet Set Radio.
Kind of crazy. I did not expect to see all of them at the same time like that.
I
thought
didn't
it was gonna
expect
be
Golden
Axe.
Axe to come back, because that's not a... I'm going to be honest, anytime I've gone back to try to play Golden Axe, I've never enjoyed it.
Now, are these
Maybe
like
this one's gonna be good.
remasters or re-releases, or are they like brand new installments to these series?
They said they're going to be revivals of older franchises.
New-
So that can mean anything. That can mean remasters of the originals coming in as like test beds. If the remaster does well, then we know we can go ahead and sell you a full price new game.
How
Or
many
it's
Jet Set
going
Radio
to be,
games are there?
are we counting new games that actually like
Because this
are
one's called Jet Set
basically-
Radio 3, I think. That's what it said. It's good. Jet Set Radio 3, Crazy Taxi 4.
I know that
So, like, it sounds new
his
to me.
boss wants me to get into Jet Set Radio, so I think I'll give this new one a shot based on Pf's recommendation.
I played the first one.
And Sega are chalking a lot of this up, saying that it was the success of Sonic in the recent years that has enabled them to do this, basically. And I know they're not talking about Superstars, because it recently came in that Superstars underperformed as far as Sega were concerned. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Even though
Yeah, coming.
even though I like the game, it's quite obvious
Don't
why.
worry, don't worry. They'll blame the wrong reasons.
There can never be
Look,
a 2D Sonic game ever
well,
again.
Because there were multiple
Well,
playable characters.
we do at least know that Frontiers has a really good install base,
Yeah,
and
like
that's
Frontiers.
that's
what?
a very promising thing for getting more games like Frontiers. Just not Frontiers again, where we have floating platform, no polished land.
Yeah, give me a finished game next time. Like, Frontiers was, and I think they'll all admit, I think Kishimoto basically admitted Frontiers was effectively an open beta. And I'm fine with that if it means that we're getting...
How many times they do this?
Yeah, I'm fine with that if it means they'll
Just
know
make
what...
a game.
I'm fine with that if it means they'll know what to do next time. But...
Our next beta is going to be
They
so
keep-
good, guys.
Next beta is gonna be great. Don't you worry.
In fairness, hear me out, right? Sonic Forces is a polished game. Sonic Lost World is a polished game. And the problem with those games is that fundamentally they are not what anyone fucking wants.
Pup,
Yes?
Problem is that I hate them.
pup.
Yeah.
You think those 2D sections are polished?
Yeah, I mean, they felt like shit, but...
They're not. The Forces is not a polished game.
I think Forces was fairly polished. They just went so hard in the wrong direction.
No.
No.
It's aesthetically, it's polished.
Dude, it looks like it
No.
was put in a blender full of like a bunch of boring juice and just blended together.
So I can agree that Lost World is polished. Lost World does not feel incomplete in places. It just feels fine. Like the biggest sin Lost World ever had was feeling fine.
I mean, I think...
Well,
the
this is
thing-
this is literally like the if you polish a turd argument.
Now, see, I'm not trying to be Sega's defense force here. Let me put that out there. But I'm trying to meet it on its terms here. I would rather they release a game like Sonic Frontiers where it's like, okay, we're figuring out what people want and we put a little budget into it. We know exactly what to do next time and we're really going to tidy things up on the next one.
But you know that that's not what they're gonna do.
We don't know because, like, it's hear me out.
It's
here.
been enough. It's been enough
I think
years.
if guys, I'm just
Eventually, you recognize patterns.
for the sake of today, I'm just meeting it on its terms here. Like, it's one of those things where they could keep polishing up and investing loads of money into games like Sonic Lost World, which are polished as fuck, but no one fucking wants
change.
that.
Sonic Team should change their name. So I think just so that it'll also sound better, like they'll really mesh together. So now we have like this new game made by Sega Hardlight, right? We should have Sega Gaslight.
Sega Soft Light.
Sega Hard
So
Dark.
I know that I'm going to be saying something very, very extreme in regards to Sega, but there is certainly something to be said with Sonic Team about the patterns of abusive relationships. Don't worry, it'll be better next time. I swear.
Okay, well, all I'm trying to say, though,
I'm just
It'll
trying.
never happen again.
He's a very. I'm just saying.
You don't know what
Sonic-
we're like when we're alone.
You-
all I'm
you
all
don't
I'm trying
know
to say though
Sonic
is based on my own research. Though. Based on my own research, and I fully acknowledge, hold my hand up, that there is a huge possibility the next game could come out just as unpolished. But I'm just going based on my own research here and meeting it on its terms, right? Just indulge me for this thought exercise, effectively.
Okay.
I don't think we've ever had a Sonic game release in recent memory that has been quite as unpolished as Frontiers. That has...
We've never.
Hang on,
That
just
has-
give me a minute. That has also gone on to go through 3 phases of additional testing while the game is out to implement these features, and all for free. Not to mention that they've been quite transparent about the fact that they were working on a new Boost game for 2 years prior to shifting focus over to Frontiers. That and, like, this is quite a drastic departure here. Like, Frontiers, yes, it is another rushed Sonic game, but I'm also trying to think beyond this a little bit here. It's also the first open zone Sonic game. It's a radical departure from the regular formula. It does make sense to me that they need to prove themselves to the investors. So they've basically put together this thing where it's like, okay, 0 budget, 0 time, but we're just going to see what people like and then show the investors, people want this. People want more of this. And as far as that experiment would go, you could easily call Frontiers a success, but we're going to have to wait and see whether or not we're actually going to be reaping the fruits of that success in the next one. There is a chance that maybe we will get more floating platforms and pop-in, which is fucking trash, all right? That would suck. But the reason that is the way it is in this case is because those platforms were not added in until the final year of development, because the original intention was for cyberspace to take up the entirety of the platforming while the overworld be focused solely on combat. But the testers didn't fucking like that. They were like, this isn't a Sonic game, so they were like, shit. We've got to add as much platforming as we can. No time to make proper LODs for those things.
Glue it onto
here's-
the top.
Yeah,
Here's
basically.
my reason for not believing any of this. Sonic 1, 2, and 3, they are all understandable sequels to each other, right?
Mhm.
This is a natural progression. That makes sense. Mario did the same thing. 3D Sonic games, they have never done that. It is every fucking 3D Sonic game, with kind of the exception of Adventure 1 and 2, have just done different shit. Like, and not in a way that's like, oh, it's fresh for the series. In a way that's like, damn, I wish they would make a sequel to something I liked.
Well,
It's
no,
always some vastly different bullshit that it's never, they don't ever go, this worked, let's build on this and make it better. They don't do that.
okay, you
No,
know,
that's true.
like,
I
the-
feel like we have to hope that this is what's gonna happen. Not like, because the pattern is that does not happen.
the point
Like,
I'm
even
making-
even
hopefully-
Adventure 1 and 2 are like vastly different from one another.
Yeah, the point
Like,
but
yeah.
I mean, to be fair, that's not entirely correct, because going from Unleashed to Colors to Generations, and then, yes, you've got fucking Lost World
Those-
between that, but then Forces, they're all overall...
So I'm sa-
there's more similarities between those games than there is between Adventure 1 and 2.
I'd
The
say,
only thing they have in common is boost gameplay.
hold on. So just from a design standpoint, the Sonic games are easily divided into chunks. There's Adventure 1 and 2, which they use the same engine, the same gameplay for the most part between the two of them. They feel different because there was a rush development process, and
Yeah, also no
obviously.
hub world in 2, and
That's part of that development process. They had less than a year to build it, so they didn't build out all that extra stuff. We literally just got the levels. Then when you get Heroes, there's only 2 games that filter off each other in Heroes. Heroes and then Shadow the Hedgehog, which is Heroes with guns and on ice. Basically, it feels it's the slippery Heroes, and Heroes was already a slippery mess. After that, you don't have anything. I mean, unless you count the storybook games together. After that, yes, there is the Unleashed, Into Colors, Into Generation, because Unleashed day levels, Colors, and Generations all feel very, very similar, to the point where if you use mods to put the Sonic of any one of those games into the levels of another, it feels close enough.
But you're going in the complete opposite direction. It's like, do we have progression or stagnation?
Yeah, it's
like
going. It's understandable. They don't properly build off of each other. They annex pieces of the last ones,
and they think that building on it is adding bullshit.
I think
they think building on it is all right. We just make it the same and then stick a fucking werewolf in it.
I think
that's
something though where folks are kind of missing the point I'm trying to make here. Is like, I'm not trying to say everything's going to be okay. Believe everything Daddy Sega says. Nor am I trying to say it's okay to release a beta test for $60 onto the general public. Like, you don't pay to be part of a focus group at the end of the day. What I'm kind of trying to say is, based on Sonic Frontiers and the research that I've done, I personally am quite hopeful about the future of the Sonic franchise if they stick with the Frontiers model. I think, there's definitely improvements that do need to be made. And it's also why I say the people that defend Frontiers to the point of just dogpiling people are missing the point. They want feedback on this.
Superstars is just more confirmation of the fact that even after all this, they still don't get it.
Superstars is another interesting case, though, because I think the problems with Superstars boil down to experimentation.
But what I'm saying is it's coming from the same place. They still don't get it, and then it's Sega. It's Sega. It is Sega Gaslight.
No,
that is what it is.
Let me give my points on Superstars then, because when I think about like Sonic Superstars, it's not only like, are they reviving the classic Sonic formula, they're also adding things like the Emerald power-ups. They're adding things like, they've tried to improve the bosses. I don't think it is an improvement, but I can see the
problem is I can see the angle, but they don't have the talent for it. I'm sorry, they don't. If that's the best their fucking team can come up with, they need some fresh blood.
So what can you elaborate on that a little bit? Because I'm not gonna say I disagree or agree. I want you to elaborate on it a little.
I'm tired of saying it over and over again. This game doesn't look great. There's not a lot of varied environments. There is no reason to play it over. There's a reason to play. Okay, go to Mario, right? There's a reason to play Mario 1, reason to play Mario 2, reason to play Mario 3, reason to play Mario World. And I like to go back to those games all for different reasons. It's the same thing with, even though I don't like Sonic 1, it's the same shit with classic Sonic 2. I feel like going through, and once you've had your fill of Superstars, there's never going to be a point where I'm going to be like, oh, you know what? I want to play Superstars again.
I don't know, though, because I myself have gotten a lot of enjoyment out of revisiting it. And it's a shame that Wayne and Nick aren't here.
I watched you sit in a hotel room playing Sonic Frontiers during a convention.
Because we weren't fucking doing anything. We were waiting to see when we were going to go, so I just thought, fuck it, I need to get some research done ahead of the video. Because unlike some people, I make more than one video every 3 months.
Jesus Christ.
And my videos make more than $3.
Yes, that's why I need to make more than one video every 3 months.
I will say, so my Superstars, I still have not finished it. And the reason I haven't finished it is because I haven't wanted to go back to it. It just feels it feels so
derivative.
Middling. It's
middling.
Middling is my main thing. Like
Like
directly after Superstars came out, the Mario RPG remake came out. I beat that in 2 days. It's a much longer game than Superstars. I beat it in 2 days because when I sat down and played it, I was enjoying every second I was playing it, and the game kept giving me more reasons to enjoy it. And it's a remake of a game I've already played.
So what I'm trying to say is, With Superstars, I don't know if it is just like an I see the vision thing, but I feel like that's almost becoming a deflection. It's one of those things where, like, when I think of the bad thing about Sonic Superstars, because I don't really hear a lot of elaboration as to what the actual problem is. Why don't we revisit Superstars? One of my reasons...
The music sucks, balls. That's one thing.
One of the things that puts me off of revisiting levels in Sonic Superstars is knowing that I'm going to have to fight the big boss at the end of it, and those bosses take too long. Now, the bosses, I can chalk it up to attempting to address an existing problem, but going kind of in the wrong direction. It's one of those things where I can safely say I think the bosses of Sonic Superstars were experimental in a lot of ways, but it's an experiment that doesn't work out as far as I'm concerned. It's one I can understand why they made it, because in a lot of classic Sonic boss fights, just jump on its head and it's done. Like, as long as you can keep bouncing, it's over. It's a fucking joke. With Superstars, they were trying to make them a bit more to chew on, but the problem is, as Webster points out in his video, you can't speedrun them. You are doing these things set at the pace that the game wants you to fight them, and the problem with that is Sonic is all about setting your pace.
Yeah, it's antithetical to the design of Sonic. I talked about this in a video before about it's like so I compared, I think it was in my Sonic 2 video, I talked about the final boss that people have a problem with. Mm-hmm. But the way that I saw it was, it's kind of like it follows the same philosophy as the rest of the game, where if you want to play it safe, it takes longer.
You can
if
still
you wanna,
jackass run it, like
what I'm saying is, like, it's, if you want to play it safe, it's going to take you longer to get through the level. If you got really good and you're like, fuck, I can do this, you can blaze through it. Yeah. It's the same thing with that final boss, because that boss is super easy. If you play it really safe and careful, it's very easy to beat that boss without breaking a sweat. Yeah. It's hard when you try to get extra hits in because you have no rings and the hurt box is weird and you can easily like get yourself killed. But if you're really good at it, you can cheese that boss just like any other boss. That plays into the same way that you play through the regular levels, and that is something that you can't do with the Superstars bosses.
With Superstars, I would say there's a lot of bosses. The majority of the bosses are things that could be improved by reducing the iframes just a little. I don't think they should be what they were in the classics, where you can just make such quick work of them. Because I also like how it does encourage use of the Emerald abilities, which I got the most use out of during the bosses, and I felt kind of clever for thinking outside the box at times. It's rewarding, and I think that is good game design, even if it's not necessarily great Sonic game design. The problem is when you get bosses where they are just off in the background and you have to wait to deflect one of their attacks. For example, the final boss at the end of Egg Fortress, or Fang. Fucking the Fang boss is, in my opinion, the most egregious example, because, like, you got absolutely nothing right here, Whereas with the Eggman one, I can kind of forgive it a little bit. I think the other thing is also difficulty balancing, in that there's, some of these boss fights can take a fucking long time, and there's no form of checkpoint.
I mean, you want to talk about balancing, how about Toothless?
What?
Fucking
like the dragon from Your Dragon?
Oh, yeah. You mean the fucking Super Trip?
Yeah.
Yeah, Super Trip is effectively debug mode.
It just breaks the game.
That's what I was thinking too. It does feel like a debug mode, like just straight up.
And there's also, by the way, not only that, you also can get stuck with it.
Yeah, I got stuck a lot, but thankfully you can cancel the super form, so it's like,
or you can.
Yeah, but it's just clunky and unpolished.
I agree. I agree fully with that. Also, I think one of the biggest sins Superstars commits, trip story is not worth it. If you have a large chunk of a game and I'm saying it's not worth it, that is one of the worst criticisms I can give. Now, I still really do enjoy the main story of Sonic Superstars. Again, I am probably the most charitable person towards it on this show. But, like, it's mainly for things like, I do enjoy levels like Bridge Island. I think there's excellent level design there. Same goes for Speed Jungle. Same goes for pretty much all of the levels except maybe Golden Corral and Frozen Base.
Golden Corral?
Every time I think about that zone, I think about Golden Corral, and I don't think I've ever been to a Golden Corral.
We got to go to Golden Corral sometime.
All together?
All right.
Okay, are we doing Golden Corral steaks, or are we doing Golden Corral breakfast?
I would get breakfast.
We can make another unwatchable live action
I
episode.
like all the garbage they have for dinner.
Okay, well, why don't we go both? We'll go both.
Both.
Both?
Just stay there all day.
Why not both?
But like another thing where like, because initially I was defending the bosses a bit more as well, because as Webster kind of says, like they've tried this experiment in Sonic 4 Episode 2. I would say it's kind of a different thing in that, like, with Sonic 4 Episode 2, you'd be waiting for 30 seconds for the boss to actually start, and then when it goes into the new phase, you're waiting another 30 seconds. With Superstars, you can at least skip that shit. Like, if you just hold down the fucking jump button, you can skip it. That was one of the things that made me say, okay, they've addressed the Sonic 4 Episode 2 problem. But I do kind of also agree in that, yeah, you can't speedrun those bosses. But that's it, really. When I think of the big egregious problems with Sonic Superstars' main campaign, it's the bosses, and I can chalk that up happily to experimentation. I would hope that they're not going to do that again, but I would be happy for them to bring everything else back. Like, bring back this gameplay engine? Sure. Bring back these models and shit? Sure. You know, bring back this art style even? Sure. I do agree with Gilly in that I think they do need to be a bit more ambitious with the level themes, but Sonic Superstars was doing something experimental with the classic Sonic formula when they could have just done more of the same, which I do appreciate. I just wish that what we ended up with was more of a fruit of that experimentation. It's kind of a shame that, like, Sonic as a franchise has to keep experimenting to get even the basics right, because it's like, it's one thing with 3D Sonic. 3D Sonic is quite difficult to get right because he's a character that moves fast, and when you've got those extra dimensions and that Z-axis, you've got to, like, you know, make it so that he is controllable in 3D and you can do everything you need to do. He needs to be reliable. Understood. When you're getting the classics wrong, then it becomes a different matter, but I still do not subscribe to thinking Sonic Superstars got the classics wrong. I think Sonic Superstars tried some things that just don't work.
So for me,
I don't know, man. It feels like all these fucking like reboots of like it's like Zoe 102.
What?
I wish I could articulate. I wish I could specifically articulate.
Let him articulate.
Yeah, they did. Let
Cirrus articulate.
Well, it's not that I can articulate. It's my frustrations at not being able to properly articulate.
Get to the point. I hate you so fucking much.
I mean, if you want me to try and, like, put Superstars into the best words I could, I would say that it is, like, it's sort of, like, aggressively similar to a lot of things that I didn't like already about the classics. So, I mean, of course, the bosses is one thing that I definitely didn't like. But mainly the stages, it didn't really feel like... Okay, I'm going to compare the first time I played Sonic Mania to the first time I played Superstars. Actually, that might be a little difficult because Sonic Mania, I guess I kind of knew some of the level design already because of the, you know, it was copied over. But, like, you know, like, so let's say the first time I experienced something new in Sonic Mania, the first time I played Studiopolis Zone, I didn't ever feel like holding right and occasionally tapping the jump button would make it to the end of the stage, because that's not how the stage worked. You know, they accounted for that. They didn't make it boring. But, like, every stage in Sonic Superstars, aside from, like, the ones where you need to pay attention, like the one that bounces you in the air with the hydraulic press, and then the, like, the drone level, let's say,
yeah,
because you need to hit the buttons. I felt like every single stage, if I just kept throwing myself to the right, I was gonna make it. You know, like, I didn't ever really have a moment where I was like, where do I go? What do I do? Not that I need to be lost in a Sonic game, that's not what I was saying, but, like, the level design is so... It's like non-existent, it feels
It's
like.
very... Okay, so the level design is very safe and sterile, and they tried to...
Yeah.
They tried to make the stage design quote-unquote original by adding new gimmicks to it, but those gimmicks aren't...
No, I like the powers. I like the powers for the most part.
Those are fine, but I'm saying,
but
like,
I use them to skip annoying things.
Yeah, so I'm saying they added stage gimmicks to make up for the lack of level design.
I
Yeah.
don't quite get it though. Like, I don't get what the major difference
It's
is.
mindless. Like this is like playing Superstars was like playing Forces.
You need to.
me.
It's so
It's
it's
the
for
same
me.
kind
It's
of
like it's
thing.
a thing that you need to be. You either feel it or you don't. And the
Right.
reason I can't articulate it is because I'm not a game developer. I'm not a level designer. But level design is meant to be played by people that don't know how level design works anyway.
Yeah.
So the fact that I can feel it but can't articulate it, something's there. And I might need someone who knows level design to like properly. There's some things I can articulate, but I don't know
Yeah.
like the ins and outs
No,
of shit.
I'm in the same boat.
So-
Like I don't know the specific words or like how
Yeah.
to phrase it. But like, and I know that sounds like I'm just being pedantic, but like,
No, it's fair. It's fair,
I
get
liked it when I played it the first time. Like I liked it when I played it through the first time. But then every subsequent playthrough, I was like, "Oh God, we're about to get to this part. Oh God, we're about to get to this part. Oh God!" Like every time, I was like waiting for the end, and I was like, "Why am I trying to get to the end of this so fast?"
Yeah.
Like, oh, because I'm not having fun.
I think
Like, I
that's
don't know
the
why.
issue. I think that's kind of close to my issue, even though I'm not able to articulate it as much. When I play Superstars, it feels like I'm trying to finish the level so that the level can end, as opposed to as an example, the cyberspace level in Frontiers with the beehives, where you can just use your spin dash and get an obscene amount of air, and it feels like you're basically free to go wherever you want, even though it's a linear level. That's a level that I died in a lot, and I didn't care. I was like, I can spend a half hour in this 2-minute level, and I will enjoy every minute of it. I love being here. When I'm
Being.
in,
I didn't know what you meant
Beehive.
by beehive level. Now I know.
The one
Yeah,
that's a
when
bit
I-
like
I was like-
Honeycomb Highway.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, "What are you talking about? The beehive level?"
But when I'm playing Superstars, I feel like I'm waiting for the level to end, because when the level ends, I get to go do something else. But I'm never really enjoying my time in the level. I'm just trying to get the level to finish. And I don't like that feeling. Even if I can't go into detail about why I'm experiencing that feeling, I'm still experiencing it, and I don't enjoy it.
I think I can understand, like, even if I don't entirely agree, I can understand what you guys are saying, because I think the way you guys feel about this is how I feel about Trip Story, in that it's not worth it, you know, like, you're fighting against it, you're not so much playing it and having a good time. I mean, look,
Barring the first time, yeah.
while I do, like, kind of disagree with the overall sentiment, like, I don't entirely disagree with you guys anyways, because while I have gone on record, and please don't make fun of me and let me finish, while I have gone record saying that I do prefer Sonic Superstars to Sonic Mania, if it were a choice between, would you like the Mania team to return, would you like Evening Star to make a new Sonic game, or would you like Arzest to make a new Sonic game? Evening Star all the fucking way, because I think they did do a better job with Mania than Arzest did with Superstars. Because I do agree with these granular little things here and there. Like, while I don't make much overall, while I don't detect a huge amount of difference between the level design of, like, Sonic Superstars to the point where it can ruin it for me, I will also acknowledge that there is a bit more verticality to, say, a stage like Studiopolis than there is anything in Sonic Superstars. I kind of get what you guys are saying, but I don't, like, agree with the sentiment that makes it as kind of, I guess, egregious as it is to you guys, you know?
I guess
And-
it's not that
I just
it's
don't want to play it again. Like I played it once, and usually I like replaying games because it's like it's comfortable. But like, I just it feels like something like Shadow the Hedgehog or Sonic not 06, sorry. It feels like Sonic Heroes or Shadow. Like I just don't want to replay them because I don't want to go through these levels again.
See, what's
You know,
funny
like,
is like 06 I actually enjoy going back to, and not even just Project 06. Like I've enjoyed just playing old 06 more than Superstars. And that's not that it's a better game. It's not. It's
that it
an awful
engages you more.
game. It feels like it has more to engage me with.
So it's chalked up to a failure in engagement.
Crazy how that works.
Yeah, I'd say engagement's a big part of it. It just feels mindless to me.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
it's one of those things that is really difficult to quantify, because I can't, I guess, explain why I've revisited Superstars as many times as I have. Like, there are times when I would just happily pick up my Switch, sit down, and just literally play through the stages in a linear order, like you do when you revisit a classic Sonic game. Effectively,
I mean, when Mania came out, I completed it as every character.
Yeah, see, that's
like, and I kept wanting to replay it.
That's the thing for Mania with me, and I acknowledge that it's down to preference, it's down to a fundamental thing, and it's also down to, and I know this is unfair to Mania because it is reliant on a lot of outside factors too. So if I were to review Mania, I wouldn't necessarily bring this stuff up. But the reason why I don't hold Mania in such a high regard is simply for the fundamental basis that a huge part of this game is bringing back old stages, and that is the majority of it. And they've done...
Yeah, but the thing is that it doesn't really. It's bringing back old stage assets, but like a lot of stuff has changed, and then they completely change Act 2. And
Sure,
the fact that they can reuse all those level assets and hold my attention, and Superstars can have brand new level assets for all intents and purposes, and it bores the fuck out of me, kind of speaks volumes to me.
I don't deny that the Mania team did a really good job at refreshing those classic stages. But for me, and I acknowledge that this is by no means an objective criticism. This is not something I would ever bring up when reviewing the game. For me, it is that I play through... So you've gone through Green Hill and Chemical Plant, seen it a million times, and it's like, yeah, they've done a nice job at refreshing these stages. I really just want to get to Studiopolis. And then I get to Studiopolis, and I have the most amazing time. And then you get that cutscene where it says, Flying Battery has returned. And I'm like, oh, man. I can't be fucked. Because the other thing is, Flying Battery... There's some stages in there that aren't different enough, in my opinion. Like Flying Battery, and it pains me to say it because Hydro City is my favorite classic Sonic stage. But I don't think they did enough to differentiate Hydro City either. Like, I don't know, there are some where it does just feel very much like the old one. Again, these are not objective criticisms. I'm not trying to make a point to say Mania bad.
Yeah, but
I'm trying to explain
the same time,
why, on a fundamental basis, I am going to immediately gravitate more towards Superstars, because it is an egregious thing for me, bringing back stages. Generations should have been the only one.
Yeah, but you gotta say, when you're saying stages, it needs to be like, okay, so...
Stage designs, stage appearances, cosmetics.
So the appearances, I'm saying, like, it ultimately, like, yes, I want to see brand new stages that have a lot of varied things to look at. But at the same time, there's also a reason that Emerald Hill and fucking... What's
Green
it,
Hill?
like? No. Sonic 2.
Chemical Plant.
No.
What are you trying to?
What's the color
Wait,
of the stage?
Hilltop Zone?
Teal. Yes.
Yeah, Hilltop Zone.
So Emerald Hill and Hilltop Zone palette swapped assets. Completely different stage design, completely different levels. They don't feel anything alike.
Yeah, no.
They have their own set of mechanics that are explored. They have their own set of like they don't feel anything alike, despite having similar looking assets.
But you know an inconvenient truth when it comes to me. And again, I keep saying it's not an objective thing. What I mean is I don't hold it against the game because I know it's a me thing. Whenever I get to Hilltop Zone, I roll my eyes. I'm just like, oh, I just want to get to the other one.
I like Hilltop Zone.
I don't
enjoy
care for
Hilltop
Hilltop
Zone
Zone.
there.
Hilltop Zone feels to me like Marble Zone with a Emerald Hill coat of paint. But it's not as bad as Marble Zone. Again, like, I don't hold it against the game. I prefer Sonic Superstars to Sonic Mania for reasons that I don't hold against Sonic Mania. The Mania team did a better job. Mania is a stronger product. You kind of get what I'm trying to say here. Am I kind of making some sense?
I understand what you're meaning. I think what a lot of this boils down to, though, I think for most of us, is that we have things to point to. We have things to point to with these games that we really, really enjoy, both when we get to them and when we go back to them. The biggest egregious thing that a Sonic game can do is be uninteresting, more than anything. Because like with Superstars, it's not that it's not a fun game when you are playing it. It's that it's just really uninteresting. And it shouldn't be, because it's not a poorly made game. It's just a meh game. And that's not worse.
I think it's a poorly designed game.
I do
I don't-
wonder though what
Not in a way that's like this is bad, but in a way that it's like this is just is. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just there.
it does make me
It's
wonder
bran flakes.
what exactly they can do to continue making classic Sonic games in the future. Because yes, they can fix.
Got a
something.
different fucking team to do it.
That's not.
For Christ's sake.
I think the Mania
something
team,
they tried.
yes, but what do the Mania team need to do to separate it from Superstars? And I can think of a few answers.
It doesn't even need to be the Mania team. It just needs to not be whoever they keep getting to work on shit.
I mean, they don't keep.
'Cause
Yeah, this is Arzest's first Sonic game.
Yeah, but
What else
So-
did RZS make?
Arzest have not made many good games. Sonic Superstars is arguably
how much?
Arzest's first
How
good game.
was it? Yeah, but how much
Did they
was
make the Yoshi game that I didn't
was
like?
it 100% Arzest? Yeah, they. I like that Yoshi game, but once again, the sterile, forgettable Yoshi game that nobody liked.
There's as much Sonic Team
They
involvement
made Hey Pikmin?
on Sonic Superstars. There's as much Sonic Team contribution as there is with Sonic 4. where
Okay, so-
they are by technicality associated in that. So, like, for one thing, Sonic 4, like, the only thing that made it a Sonic Team game was that Takeshi Iizuka oversaw it, and they had Jun Sonoi on the soundtrack.
But
And-
if that's what happened, then Then how did they get there? Because I don't like the Dimps games, but Sonic 4 doesn't feel like anything they did before.
That is down to a number of factors. With Sonic 4 Episode 1, the reason is it was originally conceived as just a MOBA game for Sonic, basically. Just like, you know, it was going to be called Sonic the Portable. There's even evidence of that in the casino stage where on the fucking Ferris wheel it still says Sonic the Portable. But the whole point was like it was just going to be a perfectly acceptable mobile title. But then
But it still sucked.
But then
That
Sega
was the
and
thing
I
for a
think
mobile game.
I think Sonic 4 Episode 1 would have been... Look, the biggest sin it commits... I still think Sonic 4 Episode 1 commits a lot of sins, but the biggest sin it commits is being called Sonic 4. Because the thing is, like, if you're making a mobile game that is just a quick dose of Sonic for mobile gamers, it's okay if you want to do a Green Hill thing. It's okay if you want to do a Casino Night thing. It's okay if you want to do Labyrinth. Blah, 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 it goes on. When it comes to Sonic 4... you gotta have those original ideas. The physics and stuff of Sonic 4 Episode 1 are gonna be a problem regardless, because not only are they different from the classics, but they don't make any fucking sense. But you can, I find anyway, I can forgive something a little more for drifting away from the classics, provided that it's not being called Sonic the Hedgehog 4. So I do think it would have been a more or less okay to mediocre mobile game, but then, you know, Sega were like, you know, money to be made here. It's a 2D game. We can bring it to consoles and call it Sonic 4. That's the real issue there. And in Episode 2, definitely made some improvements. I think Episode 2, credit where it is due, made a lot of improvements over Episode 1, but the thing is, the coffin was kind of already buried at that point, you know?
What are we talking about again?
We were talking about how fucking the Sonic 4 games don't feel like the Dimps games and have a whole new set of problems.
Yes. They
Mainly,
sure
it's mainly just the conversation about how no matter what developer we get, we either get something that feels super different but bad, or super similar and middling a lot of times with Sonic, which is not.
But they
Not
get
great.
they just get people who don't understand things. That's why it worked with Mania, because they got people who knew what made the games good. Now they just back. It doesn't even make any sense.
I don't
Because it'd be
know,
one
though,
thing if they were like,
again,
they were like, fuck the Mania devs. We wanna do it in house, but they didn't even do that. So
Well, the actual thing there was that the Mania devs were initially working on, well, were wanting to work on. Sega and the Mania devs were going to work on a new 2D Sonic game that wasn't exactly going to be a sequel to Mania, but it was going to include 3D graphics. So basically what Superstars ended up being, it's just that, you know, the Mania team couldn't come back for it because...
okay.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
This is why I'm because here's why fuck Superstars, dude. Because the fact that there is a separate timeline where the same game was being worked on and it would have been a much better game tells me I have reasons to dislike this game. Because I know that if this was already the idea that was trying to be set in motion and had the right team worked on it, it would have been a much better game. That makes me dislike this game more. Because this isn't Sega putting their best foot forward.
Well, yeah, I don't know what it was that caused that to fall through. Like,
Which is fine, but I'm saying that's another reason for me to dislike it, because I know that there's a timeline where it would have been 1,000 times better than it actually is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe. I don't think that Sonic Superstars demonstrates any lack of understanding of what makes Sonic great. I think it just makes a few mistakes. Like, I think that is just all there is to kind of my opinion of it is. I kind of agree with you that the things that are wrong with the game are wrong with the game. I just don't think Sonic Superstars demonstrates any grave misunderstanding of what makes classic Sonic great. I just think these hiccups are hiccups, effectively.
I think it's hyper what makes classic Sonic great, but it's not enough on its own. If that makes it like because it's already been done.
I
guess you could say the fundamentals, maybe. I guess
it's literally it's literally the game is if you had to write down on paper what makes classic Sonic good and then stick it in a fucking AI. This is the game it would make.
That's not the worst allegory I've ever heard. Actually, that's actually right.
Yeah,
I feel like
it
really
is everything. I think that's one of the reasons why it's so hard to talk about what's even wrong with it, because on paper, literally, everything's what it should be, right? But it just
the boss
feels like it's not.
The bosses definitely aren't, but like again, I can chalk that up to trying to address a problem and making it worse for different reasons.
Yeah. And that's fair. I like that. I like that analogy because that analogy feels like it puts into words what I struggle with Superstars. Superstars has everything that I could possibly want in a 2D Sonic platforming game, and yet somehow I don't care for it. I've played through Sonic Mania more than once. I've played through all the classics a few times each and enjoyed them. I've not, however, enjoyed Superstars that much.
I think
feels like a chore.
It also kind of feeds into a point I'm kind of making though as well, in that I feel like they are re-establishing some foundations here. And again, look, problems are problems. I'm not out to excuse that, but between Superstars and Frontiers, I feel like they've got what they need to make something truly special and re-establish those foundations for Sonic. Because I think Superstars has proven that they can make classic Sonic physics and stuff work with three-dimensional models. Something they've been trying to do since fucking generations and failing at. They've finally got that down. They can do it. They just need to put more time into level design. So it's almost like, don't change the gameplay. Leave it alone. You never need to revisit that. Just work on giving us amazing levels now. And I think Sonic Frontiers has a similar thing, where we've got a Sonic that is more versatile than ever, feels really good, and all we really need to do is just get those environments down this time, you know? Make something that's visually congruent. Just work on the cosmetic side of things a little bit. This is the thing. It's not like a situation that we had with, say, Sonic Forces, where it's like, all of this needs to go. Or it's not a situation like with Sonic Lost World, where it's like, yeah, you made a polished game, but none of this is any fun. All of it needs to go. We're not in a position now where we've got Sonic games where all of it needs to fucking go. We're in a position now where we've got Sonic games that have laid down some foundations that I think are very important for the franchise going forward. The problem is there's every possibility that Sega could look at Sonic Frontiers and be like, oh, okay, we can just release more games with this low of a budget and just fucking shit them out. They don't need the quality as long as we got that down, right? That would be the wrong lesson to learn. The right lesson to learn would be, okay, we've got a gameplay engine that works here. Let's leave it alone and spruce things up on a visual standpoint. Make it look really nice, make it really immersive. And with Sonic Superstars, the worst thing they could do is be like, fuck it. You know, people don't want momentum-based classic Sonic games anymore. Fucking do something new. The right lesson to learn is, okay, we got the characters overall right. Let's make some really good level designs and some really good bosses this time. We know not to fucking pad the bosses out to extremes. I don't think I've
Except
ever
that
seen. I don't think I've ever seen a recent Sonic game that has had more foundational potential than these two. And that might sound like copium. I can understand why it does. As it is, I fortunately fucking really enjoyed both
Listen.
of these games.
Listen,
I understand what
listen,
you're saying.
listen. When a band, when a new band puts out their first demo or even their first record, you can do that. You can go, there's definitely a good base here. They need to grow a little bit and explore their sound, and usually subsequent records sound a little better and they're more. That's in the beginning. Sonic's old.
No, I get that.
Sonic is very old, and I'm so tired of. This is a good foundation.
No, but
I'm
hang on.
tired of it.
We can't divorce this from what's come before, though. Let's not forget that before Sonic Frontiers and Sonic Superstars, the most recent Sonic game we had was Sonic Forces, a game that proved that the tried and tested can fail. Okay? So they had to try some new things.
But they took the tried and tested and fucked it up and made it 2 hours long.
Yeah, there's that. But Sonic Generations, an amazing game, is 2 hours long. The problem with Sonic Forces is that you don't even get to experience those couple of hours.
I felt a different way about Sonic Generations. It never felt like a mainline new Sonic game to me.
I think it's a fantastic game, but it feels like a
feels like
chapter.
For me, it didn't feel like a main title.
It feels like a Christmas special.
Yeah,
I agree.
It just feels like a celebration. It doesn't feel like a.
It's not a piece. It's not a. When you play even like Shadow the Hedgehog, you get the feeling that this is an important piece of the canon.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
this is a piece of the story. This will be remembered. The stuff that is in this game will have consequences, and it has. Generations feels like, hey Lois, remember the time? That's what it feels. That's.
I mean, let's also bear in mind that
Remember
Generations.
the time I was in Fortnite?
Generations was also a product of things that people were asking for as well, because Generations released Post Colors. It was the Pontaf era. People were like, we don't want stories. I remember there was literally a song by a guy that turned out to be a child molester. There's literally a song called Sonic Doesn't Need a Story. I can't remember the name of the guy, but he turned out to be a child molester, so that tells you all you need to know about people that think that way. That's a joke. Don't ever fucking clip that and take it seriously. I know what you're like.
I love how I can't say the C word, but I gotta deal with this bullshit.
Because... No! Not the fourth episode in a row of having this fucking discussion!
Can't talk about Capcom here.
Look... The sentiment around the time of Sonic Colors was Sonic doesn't need stories, Sonic doesn't need to go big, we would rather have a shorter game if it means it's streamlined. Doesn't need friends, exactly. And then everyone got fucking tired of that. Sonic Forces typified all the problems with that. And it's like everything needed to go at the time of Forces. We needed rid of Pontac and Graph. We needed rid of linear boost games. We needed rid of just all of it. So I'm looking at Sonic Frontiers and Sonic Superstars from the perspective of they needed to get rid of everything and start again. And they did. And they made two really fun games as far as I'm concerned, but with a lot of potential for future improvement. But yeah, the guy was let me find the name of the guy.
Oh my god.
In the meantime, I was just thinking about how that era of Sonic was like the whole message of a lot of the Sonic games is like, oh, teamwork makes the dream work, right, guys? But then they fucking took all of his friends away and make Sonic do every single thing all on his own.
Antithetical. The artist name was Alex Day. Right, and one of the lyrics in that song is even Amy Rose was an abomination. And it was a pop song. Guy is he was a proper signed artist and everything. That was the sentiment at the time among people. Child molesters.
Brother.
But you get what I'm
God,
saying.
I love the awkward silence.
A Sonic podcast for the classic and modern age.
Yeah, see, you know the saying. You could introduce us next week too, Gilly.
No, shut up.
And I'm glad that we have the bones of good Sonic games for the future. I wish that we had the good and you know what I mean when I say the good Sonic games now, because it's not that I don't enjoy Frontiers. I adore Frontiers.
I get.
Are you saying we have
like,
the skeleton?
They should. We'll get there. They should be able to.
I meant
it
of
out.
the games.
They should be able to knock it out of the park. It shouldn't be so difficult to figure out what makes a good Sonic game, because fucking Hardlight also did it first try. We'll get to that. But but all I'm saying is, if this is what it takes, if what it takes is two really enjoyable but really unpolished games, I'm game. I'm fucking there for it. I'll hear you out. What do you got? What do you got for me? Because Frontiers is still one of my fucking favorite games ever.
I didn't think Superstars was really enjoyable.
That's fair. It's fair. It's completely fair. I'm
I think Frontiers. I enjoy Frontiers.
I'm speaking purely from my own perspective here. But I mean, I guess I lucked out. I lucked out on this. Frontiers, I was playing it again last night because of the patch, and I was just thinking, God, I have nothing to do, but I'm having so much fun just fucking zipping about this place. Like, there's a reason why Frontiers, despite of how fucking unpolished and ugly it is like the love of my life. It's like an ugly wife, you know? It's like a British wife.
It is the case for Jesus. It is the case for me when I'm playing Frontiers that I find new reasons to enjoy it. For every reason I find to dislike what is in that game, I find reasons to like it more. I hate so as an example, have any of you, and I think Gilly, you'd probably be the only one who might have, or maybe Garrulous, have any of you played Yu-Gi-Oh! Falsebound Memories or Falsebound Kingdom? So it is a real-time quote strategy Yu-Gi-Oh! Game with all of the creatures that are in that game that should be a really amazing thing. It's not. It's garbage. It's bad Fire Emblem. It's really bad Fire Emblem. It feels awful. But I love the game. I love going back and playing it. I like going through its story. I enjoy it. What I wish is that I could have a game that I both enjoyed and was good. That's kind of the issue that I've been having with Sonic for a while.
I mean, I would still absolutely, with a full chest, call Sonic Frontiers a good game.
I'd say it's an okay game that I really, really like.
I'd call it a good. If it can get this much fun, if I can have this much fun with it,
it feels like it is a good not AAA game.
Yes, it's a good college project. And I mean, another piece of food for thought, right? Is
I hate a lot of people like things like college basketball, so a college project, good shit, I guess.
Right? But another school of thought is, okay, Marvel Spider-Man 2 dropped a couple of months back, and I played that game from start to finish.
Still haven't played it.
Yeah, of course you didn't, because you hate Spider-Man. I platinumed that game, and I adored it.
I bought a PS5 to play Miles Morales.
Yeah, yet you don't like Spider-Man. How weird.
Okay.
But I top to bottom devoured that game because I loved it so fucking much. I had the greatest fucking experience.
Did it make you feel like Spider-Man?
It did. Like, there were so many points.
He has all the exaggerated swagger of a British teen.
There were so many points when I was playing that game, and I was just texting people like, dude, this is the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. Like, I was just having such a fucking good time losing my virginity to that game. And I haven't picked it up at all since platinuming it, because the fuckers didn't include...
You did everything.
You know what's fun about those games?
Yeah.
Being from New York and going and trying to find places that are real.
Dude, that was like when I went to New York with Nick and Suris. That was part of why I had such a magical time. That was one of the best fucking nights of my life going to New York.
Oh, it's New York.
It's kind of weird because it's like it is very truncated, but a lot of things that you wouldn't expect to be there are exactly where they're supposed to be.
Like the ultimate piece of Spider-Man brain rot is the belief that the Empire State Building is the tallest building in New York. Because in most Spider-Man games, it is the tallest building in New York.
Yeah.
It's the one you always throw yourself off of when you have fall damage. And in Spider-Man 2, we have fucking fall damage. I'm so happy!
It was kind of cool because so coming from like a skateboarder perspective, there's a lot of like iconic skate spots that have been in like very like big like skate videos, like movies, that are, you know, all over the world. And there's a bunch in New York City that like everyone, like every skateboarder in the world knows about these specific fucking concrete structures in New York City. And it was weird because I was going into like Spider-Man and like trying to find these like skate spots, and a lot of them are there.
It's awesome.
Like how they are. It's fucking weird.
That's really cool.
But yeah, I guess a point I was making here, I don't know how it even relates now, but like, I was like, it's the best fucking game I've ever played. I haven't picked
Well,
it
yeah,
up
because we
since-
got excited because we started talking about good games. Go on.
I haven't I haven't
Spider-Man.
picked it up since 100%, well, fucking platinuming it. And yet I can still pick up Sonic Frontiers with dick all to do and just have a fucking good time. I can still have a pretty good time in Spider-Man, but I just don't think to do it. So I'm not saying Sonic Frontiers is better than Spider-Man 2, but I'm saying there's a certain value to it that I don't think should be understated. And for it to be something that I pick up sooner than one of the greatest fucking games ever made, like it's just something to be fucking said about that. I guess it's like when people look at like movies that like on like an objective level don't really work, but they're like, it's got heart, you know? Like, and sometimes that heart can be enough to propel it, you know? Like, you get what I mean? You get what I mean by this?
It reminds me of there's a saying from an old episode of South Park where it's like the dance one, the you got served one, and he's like you got the heart but you don't got the soul. And then he goes, wait, no, you got the soul but you don't have the heart. And then he's like, wait, no, you have the heart and the soul but you don't have the talent.
Like, I mean, I think it also
Relatable.
probably makes a lot of sense that I do think the way that I do, because on my channel, I analyze films first and foremost, you know? Whereas I think, you know, some of you guys are more gaming. So I probably look at it with a slightly different lens, maybe. I don't know.
So you're better than us?
Yes. The thing I will say, though...
Understand?
The thing I'll say, though, is the second they add New Game Plus and Mission Replay to Spider-Man 2, I'm there. I'm fucking there. Like, Insomniac, just release it already. Just do it. I don't care if it's finished or not, just do it. Actually, no, I do care if it's finished.
Now, I was going to say that I felt the same way with games like Resident Evil 4, going through and playing them over and over again. Then I remembered that game actually launched with New Game Plus, so never mind.
If you can be more than the sum of... If you can be more than the sum of your parts, you're a winner. And that's Sonic Frontiers.
That's such a wholesome thing to end on.
We're not ending yet. We got another
We got super
layer.
chats.
No, we've got another layer to this, though. Is because we're talking about the future of Sonic. Now, one thing I was questioning here, based on playing Dream Team, because Dream Team, in the post-Forces world, it's the closest thing we've gotten to a Sonic Forces 2, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in so much as it's a fairly linear Sonic game where you get from A to B, basically. And you've got the boost, and you've got kind of those abilities that are synonymous with like a Sonic Forces boost game. It's the first time we had that in a while, and it is longer than Sonic Forces and bigger than Sonic Forces, yet it released as a mobile app. So, the question is, let's say Sega chooses to release another Sonic game that isn't in the open zone format, and they release it on consoles. Can they still justify that? Is there a future for the basic 3D A to B linear Sonic game on consoles at, say, like, I don't know, a $60 price tag?
I mean, I'd say
Well-
there is. They're just so going from experience, going from the past, we used to have the standard for Sonic be the $60. I mean, it was $50 at the time. The $50 big Sonic game of the year, and it would usually be 2 or 3 years of development that would come out. And handhelds is where we would have the Dimps games or the Sonic Rival games. We would have one of those probably about every year or so. I want to be honest, I kind of want to go back to that timeline where we had a budgety Sonic game made by a secondary team, and that game could be made by a third party, and then
So like Sonic
we had
Superstars.
but not $60.
Okay,
yes.
yeah. Okay, Dream Team.
But yes, closer to what Dream Team is. And then importantly, aspects of that game being carried forward into later Sonic games. So, as an example, Advance 2 had Cream, and shortly afterwards we got Sonic Heroes, and Cream was now one of the main characters in Heroes. Blaze, being in the Sonic Rush games, then became a character that we could see in Sonic 06. Those were side games made by Dimp Studios.
Yeah, it was because they were kind of, you know, taking a few notes and stuff, right?
Yeah, and that's what I want again. So like,
I hope
Sonic
they will
Superstars
do
is
that,
out.
actually. Like, I
Sonic-
hope they will get some of that hard light inspiration in the next open zone Sonic game. Not like necessarily throw the baby out with the bathwater or anything, but like some of what they've established. Like if they made like the new Sonic Frontiers 2 and all of the cyberspace stages equivalent were basically just the stages from Sonic Dream Team, holy fuck, we'd be onto such a winner. We'd be onto Kino, Nectar, Gold.
They should just let those guys, just Sega Hardlight, handle all of the more linear levels like that, and then they focus entirely on the open zone next time, and I think we get something that probably
would be amazing.
eclipses God.
The most amazing thing ever made.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cirrus, though. Like, I didn't...
Oh, no, that's perfectly fine, because it's just it's perfectly fine to jump in on that, because most of my point is kind of done after that. I want to return to that, because it felt like that was when we had a lot more focus on the bigger main Sonic game. I think it's a bit harder to make that reality a thing anymore, because we don't have the delineation between handheld and console games anymore that we used to. The Steam Deck and the Switch and the Asus, they've all kind of blurred that for a lot of people. So now it's mobile gaming and console gaming, and I don't want that delineation. Not that it's not as another point against Sonic Dream Team being on just Apple hardware. I don't want Sonic game comes out only on mobile device. Its pieces are important to the greater puzzle of Sonic games. I don't want that reality, but I feel like that may end up being the case if this particular thing were to go through.
Right. Yeah, I think we could be moving into that again, maybe. Like, that's the thing, is everyone's calling this the Sonic Renaissance, and I don't know if I want to jump the gun, but I'm seeing the early signs. Also, I do quickly want to state, I don't actually know if Alex Day was a child molester. He might have just been a sexual abuser. I've been Googling it, and I'm not seeing about children. So,
wow.
What a good way to end the episode.
It's not the end of the episode. I
don't know. I feel like we need to go back and edit
for me.
that section now, because that's big words. That's big terms being thrown around.
Put it this way: if the future is right,
All right, I'll be right back.
that the standard A to B linear 3D Sonic game is now just a mobile thing, that we get new classic Sonic games, and that we get open zone games as the main meat of the franchise, I think we're eaten. I think we're really eaten. Like, I feel very optimistic about that. I just hope that I don't want them to be exclusive to Apple Arcade, of course, but yeah, if it's what it's got to be, it's got to be. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want that exclusivity there, because I understand that, we used to have that all the time when games were on Game Boy Advance.
Nick really got to you with that point, didn't he?
Well, I don't. It's
not what it's like anymore. It's completely.
It's not just
different.
It's also not just a Nick thing. That's a thing that you see just all over Twitter whenever you're looking up conversations on this. If you type in Sonic Dream Team, that particular point is made multiple times.
My only defense is if it does transpire that Apple did play a role in production, which they did, because it says at the end of the credits, produced by Apple. If Apple were integral to the creation of it, and what they require is for it to have an exclusivity, I'll take it. Like, I'm no stranger to games being exclusives. But at the end of the day, I still like it when Sonic is for everyone, you know?
Yeah, my biggest thing is, we have lived in that reality before. I don't think that's one we have to go back to. very, very easy now in the realm of everything gets released for the Switch, in the realm of everything eventually gets ported to the to Steam. We live in that world now, and I kind of prefer that world in terms of release schedules. I just would like to see more.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah,
like
no, I
it if
feel
we
it.
could also get more like the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Just do more of those every so often. Just random visual novel drop.
I mean, that's the thing. If it's like, you know, you
Except
get your,
actually kill him next time. Actually kill him.
you get your you get your main meat of Frontiers, Frontiers sequel maybe kind of thing, a Dream Team kind of thing, and a new classic Sonic game, and a little visual novel. I'm a happy chappy. I've been a happy chappy over this recent Sonic Assance, maybe. I don't know. I'm just enjoying myself. I'm really enjoying myself, is what I'm saying here. I hope they'll do like a Christmas thing for like a Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog kind of thing. That would be awesome. Like the Chrism of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Crimus.
Yeah.
I keep saying Sonic in the Bible, new storybook game.
Sonic in the New
Whoa,
Testament.
who's this Jesus guy?
No,
Sonic
yeah,
is
no.
Jesus at the end.
Did
Yeah.
that guy get eaten by a whale?
No,
Holy!
Serious, mate. This is Sega we're talking about. Sonic would be Jesus in that story.
They'd be like,
He
he'd be the
was King
second coming.
Arthur.
They
The
He
second
want
was
coming
it.
of
King
Jesus.
Arthur.
It's all building to this. Sonic is God. I think Prime is building to that.
Sonic is God confirmed.
No, I think they're building to that because here's the thing, right? Is that these shatter spaces didn't exist before Sonic shattered the shard, right? But Sonic's solution is going to be bring back Green Hill and let the other shatter spaces coexist, right? That's the most likely thing.
God,
If
they're
he's-
always bringing back Green Hill.
If he's if he's responsible for creating new universes, that makes him God.
Okay. Yeah, he's Shatter God, Shack God.
Shod.
Shot.
Shoddy.
You're a shod, Sonic.
I think we should not play the game and wait for Gilly to come back before doing the super chats.
Oh my god.
No,
In
I
the
actually-
meantime, we can twiddle our thumbs and make small talk.
Oh, that's where I struggle the most. I can only talk about Sonic.
That's fine. just so happens that this is a Sonic podcast for the Gilly
Guys,
age.
Sonic Dream Team, all in all, probably the best video game ever made. Just gonna throw that out there.
Oh, I can.
Please rate
then I
and
can just
subscribe to the
throw that
podcast and send it to all
out.
your friends. Eggman also, according to the poll, is diabetic, unfortunately.
Yeah, we did find out that Eggman is. That was your idea to make that poll.
Okay, so before the stream started, someone said, I don't know, I don't remember why we did that.
We said something about diabetes.
Like, someone said diabetes, and then someone else mentioned Eggman. And I was like, surely he can't.
You know what I find funny is I used to be the one demanding polls.
Well, I think polls are fun now because you've made them into something different. You've made them into not something that's, like, useful or, like, like, necessary. It's just now, if we have a fun question,
You
we can
act
just
as
ask.
though you've watched any of those episodes with those old polls.
No, that's not what I was saying. I didn't say that.
Okay.
I'm saying
Because
the
he
first
didn't do
time you
that.
did it, when you said, who's taller, me or you changed the poll game. So now this is an experience. Now this is like a factor.
Well, we needed to determine what the truth was.
Yes, I'm taller, just so everyone knows, according
yeah.
to the poll.
I didn't think you were very tall when I met you. I thought we were the same.
No, a little bit taller.
I
a little
thought
bit.
Surus was a little similar height-wise as well.
Nope.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Gilly's not very tall.
I think Gilly's taller than me, though.
He's taller than me.
Gilly's so tall. Gilly's so cool.
Little Gilly. We should
When's
just
he
say
gonna come
nothing but
back?
nice things about Gilly until he's back.
Gilly's such a nice man.
Gilly is a very virtuous fellow.
He makes good videos.
He
He
does.
makes good content.
I'm glad
He's
he's,
always
my
so
buddy.
fun, friendly.
He contributes a lot to the show sometimes.
I love it when he reads out the super chats.
Yeah, and when he introduces
I don't-
the show is very good.
I like trains.
Man, that is an antique.
A bona fide classic joke.
A certified hood classic.
I don't think he's gonna come back. He's probably listening to the stream so he can come back when the super chats are over.
This is busting straight up real for fuck.
What were any of those words?
That was just words in a line. That was not a sentence.
Okay, fine. Let's just fuck it. Let's give the baby his bottle. Let's
There's only 3 anyway, so we don't even reach Gilly in the list.
Well, let's take him to the bank. All right, go on then, Dylan.
All right, our first super chat from our pal Jamal, as Pup would say.
You're getting it.
Happy B Theory holiday weekend, milk bro forever. I don't know what that means, but I'm glad that you say it every week. Give us $2 also, thank you.
So then we've got Ace Trainer Charlie with $5 Canadian. Hello again, fellows. Back again with the maple-smelling Monopoly money. That's awesome. Been watching since around episode 70, and you guys have provided endless joy. Not until we end.
Episode 70.
Yeah, Dylan, remember
been here
episode
for a long
70?
time.
What a great time that was. You loved it.
I remember when we talked about Sonic Forces and how it was bad.
Mate, that was episode
To be
1.
fair, we're still doing that.
Yeah, because Sonic Forces fucking sucks.
We never
every
left.
episode.
What was episode 70? I want to
It was
find
a-
out what episode 70 was.
If it's Sonic Forces, you owe me $40.
It is not Sonic It wouldn't be Sonic Forces. We were over it by that point. It was
Is it $40 because you're low on you need to pay a bill?
It was Sonic Frontiers
No, I just wanted
Roundup.
$40. Oh, I mean that still starts with F.
We were talking about a news roundup. It was shortly after the Gamescom trailer dropped.
Okay.
Otis Small, thank you for the $2. Did you guys see Nick and the Scott Pilgrim anime?
I
No?
didn't.
I
I
haven't
haven't seen
seen
the
it.
anime.
I need to see it. I kind of want to see it. It looks good.
I like the animation a lot.
And that Ramona
very-
Flowers chicken. She's
I like how the
kind of bad though.
I guess that's the whole point. He's willing to
That's-
fight and kill 7 people to hang out with her.
I'd do the same,
You heard it here first,
but
folks.
without dating a high schooler beforehand. What do I look like, Alex Day?
I'm
Again,
surprised that
again,
they
I
didn't
don't know
change
if that even happened.
It's a very weird fucking thing to keep putting in there.
So I've seen some people saying, "Oh, it's an arc and that he grows from it," but I'm like, mate,
I don't
if you date a high schooler, I'm not interested in your growth from it, mate.
I don't need the growth arc. Yeah.
Yeah, you dirty
I just found
bastard.
it really weird.
However, I believe the
think-
anime kind of passes it more off as like not so much that they were dating, but I don't know. I haven't seen it. I need to see it. But it's an anime at the end of the day. Dating high schoolers is what anime is all about, right?
That's
So
what the
you have
Persona
this
franchise
idea
is all about.
for a new anime.
It's about sexy high schoolers.
No.
We're gonna draw them to look like adults, voluptuous adults, and then say they're 3 years old.
Say the last super chat, hurry, before Pup says anything else.
It's over.
I
it's
already
done.
did.
Yeah,
shit.
everyone's been doing their Christmas shopping, man. Like they don't. We've only got these.
I'm sitting here.
We've only got
riffling through
these
Magic the Gathering cards.
3 wealthy Hollywood elites here in the super chats, who live in a fucking ivory tower in California. All right. Well, anyways. Oh, okay.
Hi, Gilly. Welcome back.
Were you listening to see when the super chats were done?
No.
All right. Well, you
Yeah,
have
that
to
was just
read.
really good timing.
No, it's encore time now. You have to read all 3 super chats, Gilly.
No, I don't.
It's
I'm
an
gonna go.
encore. It's an encore. You got to do it.
No, I don't.
You have to do it.
I really don't
You
have
will
to do
not
anything.
receive the
Just
super
the-
chat money if you do not do it. You must do it.
Wait, the $9.
All right, fine. Listen. Listen. So listen. I don't get any of the super chat money, but when we do sponsorships, I get the money. You don't get any.
Okay, we need to do those sponsorships first. We'll discuss it. We'll
No, I get all. You don't get any.
No,
Me,
I
Cirrus,
I-
and
I
Garrulus get
will
all the money.
literally
Hell
read
yeah,
the
dude.
sponsorship before you can, and then I will get the money. It's a race. All right. Well, anyway, here's the skeleton. Hang on, where is he? There he is.
anyway, here he is.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Gilly, you can read this one because the rest of us have read.
Mike won 9/11
For fuck's sake.
with $1.99. Do you think they'll patch Superstars?
Let's
No.
fucking hope so. I hope they will, because there are some pretty fucking terrible glitches in there. They gotta be working on it, right? They gotta be.
He's got to be back after going to get milk. It's got to be, right?
They're working on patch number 86 for Sonic Origins, which will fix a marginal number of problems. So, like, surely, right? All right. Well, the episode is over. So,
All right.
Gilly, what are you up to on the YouTubes?
It's Sonic related. Sort
Yes.
of.
Ooh.
Will it be coming in 3 months?
Pup.
Yes.
Pup.
I say it lovingly. Come on, don't be
Pup.
like
My
that.
videos take planning and structure and writing. I don't just turn my mic on.
Don't be like
Like
that,
some
man.
people.
I'm gonna make you some toast. Don't be like that.
To be
Serious.
fair, I think
What
So wait,
ramblings?
wait, sorry, Pup. My videos take a really long time to put out because they're in 60 FPS. Sorry.
Dude, I don't see any reason to release videos in 60 FPS if I'm not
Gonna
getting
be
that
here
kind
for
of
another
viewership.
45 minutes now.
Anyways, okay. Cyrus, speaking of switching on a microphone and talking into it, what are you up to?
not answering anything you just asked.
Well, your funeral.
Speaking of switching on a mic and talking into it, Garrulous.
Hey, yeah. So pretty soon I'm gonna be switching on my microphone to make a video about Sonic Dream Team.
Wait, you make
Still
YouTube
writing it
videos?
though. Occasionally.
You're not retired?
I need
What'd
to
you just
not
call
be
him?
retired anymore.
I said retired, Gilly, for fuck's
That's a-
sake.
Gilly, that's a bow rat.
I need to
you
make
know
more
it.
videos and get more sponsorships because I
you
don't
just-
have a job anymore.
Wait, hang on. Did you say Borat?
Yes.
Are you referring to Borat?
Sure, whatever.
With the movie with Sacha
Bo-
Baron Cohen?
Sasha Baron Cohen.
Okay, you can't make fun of that when you just called the movie Borat, okay?
Bo Rat by
It
Sasha
sounds like
Baron
a-
Cohen.
Like a parody of
Bo Rat.
Ratatouille or something. It's about rats working out.
It's a Ratatouille.
Ratatouille.
Ratatouille starring Mike Pollock.
That movie's awesome.
It
Everyone
is.
should watch that.
It's fantastic.
Ratatouille.
It's fucking funny as shit.
Remember Ratatouille?
Ratatouille's fantastic.
Fantastic. All right,
I've only seen one clip of Ratatouille, but it made me laugh for 3 days.
look. Okay, Gilarulus64. What are you fucking the kid? What are you doing?
I'm making a Sonic Dream Team video pretty soon because I realized the big video I wanted to make is too big and it's going to take me a lot longer. So
Too
instead, I'm focusing on this.
Why are you making it 60 FPS? Is that that why it would
it's gonna
take
be
too long?
it's gonna be
Look,
60
fuck
FPS,
you.
1080p.
You don't need a YouTube video to be in 60 FPS. Not only
But
that,
if
right?
the footage
But
is 60 FPS, I want the video to be
But
60
not only
FPS.
that, people with lower bandwidths can actually watch the video in 1080p if it's not in 60 FPS. So I'm being
I don't
obsessed.
care.
People don't even stream in as
I
low of
make
a frame
videos
rate as
for
you make
me.
videos.
It is the frame rate of film. I will keep it that way.
Sonic's not a film.
Yes, it is.
It has been.
It's been 2 films, maybe 3.
Sometimes it really is.
Just because something does something doesn't
Shut up!
make it
Shut up!
something.
Shut up! Shut up! So,
Wow.
It's a video game
on
franchise.
on my
I didn't need that in my ears.
That's what she said. Sorry, Dylan. I feel like we keep cutting you off. You're doing
What?
things.
No,
You're doing
I
bits.
said what I was. I said what I was.
Is
gonna
that
do.
it? Is
yeah,
that
you just
all you're
weren't
doing?
fucking listening.
Is
You
that
just weren't
all you're
fucking listening,
doing?
pup.
I'm just fucking. I'm looking out for our boy, making sure that he said all he
Otherwise,
needs
I'm
to
just
say.
sitting here.
You know?
Yeah, no, I'm making a Sonic Dream Team video and other things eventually. And I'm streaming tonight, actually,
Do you want to play
at
Fortnite
4
later?
p.m. EST.
Do you want to play Fortnite?
Garrulous, you going to Magfest?
Magfest? Probably not, because I got no money left.
Please, can we play Fortnite later so I can help?
Sirs,
unlock
you going to
the-
Magfest?
I would very much
no, 'cause
like.
I'm going
Next
to DreamHack.
convention I go to, I will let you know, though.
Go to PAX.
I'm going to Magfest.
I'm gonna go to PAX.
Gilly, I'm going to Magfest.
No, you're not.
I know.
Also, if you're trying to go to PAX, I just got the email saying to apply for media, so you guys should do that.
Right.
if you-
Yeah, I gotta do that. No, I'm still gonna go to TMG, or I'm gonna try to at least.
I want to try for TMG, so I'm probably gonna not try for PAX.
I'll go ahead and do my media application just in case.
So, yeah, myself, I've got a Sonic Dream Team video coming up naturally, and yeah, that's the next big thing. So, yeah, The episode is over. You may leave.
All right, goodbye, everybody.
No, don't say goodbye.
Oh,
The
They may
French
leave.
say au revoir.
isn't that the stuff you eat with like those sandwiches?
No, I think that's reservoir.